Okay, thanks, colleagues. We're still on item 7. I'll ask Councillor Lindsay now to move the paper.
Thanks, Mayor. Okay, so first of all, I think it is really important to recognise the extent of the situation that we're discussing today. From the disruption of the decant 6 years ago, to the settling into the campus, to the Alloa Academy campus, the COVID pandemic, and recent extensive consultation, there's been a huge amount of effort and work that's been put into creating the best possible environment for the school community, the Catholic Church, the education team, and I think it's important to start by just paying tribute to the amount of work that's gone into trying to make that happen. So I remember vividly sitting alongside the school community in 2018, prior to the decant, and hearing their concerns and discussing the uncertainty. Key to their concerns was ensuring the school was maintained, maintained its identity and that it continued its existence. At that time, I reinforced the point that the school would absolutely continue to exist. However, it would likely be part of another campus due to the nature of our public finances. After 6 years, much longer than we would have wanted and significantly impacted by the COVID period, I believe now is the time to bring certainty to the school community. I do want to highlight that I fully hear the school community's concerns. You know, as a father of 2 children in primary schools, I understand the anxieties and worries that a parent does have of children in primary schools and making sure that the environment is absolutely working for them. I've met with both St Mungo's and Alloa Academy parent councils across the period and absolutely recognise that the school community are not fully supportive of the permanent location within Alloa Academy campus. I think we'd all like to be in a position to deliver a new standalone school for St Mungo's. Indeed, there are other school communities who feel they need a replacement building for their school. However, the reality is we cannot deliver that, and we need to be honest about that. Focusing on the report, and in particular the educational benefits of permanently locating within the Alloa Academy campus, it is clear that there are educational benefits of maintaining St Mungo's Primary within the campus, and this is captured in the Education Scotland report. These include access to modern, inclusive and specialist facilities that are not available in many of our primary schools, as has been drawn out during the discussion so far. Indeed, it notes that there are further potential benefits within the wider campus that have yet to be taken on by the school, and those have been discussed again throughout the session. As someone who oversees the whole all of our educational establishments, I can confirm that there are many of our current buildings that do not have access to the same standard of facilities, and suspect many would bite our hands off to have them. Those educational benefits have clearly supported the learning of young people within St Mungo's Primary, and that can be evidenced through the very positive educational attainment figures that the young people are achieving at the school. Now, I had the points noted, but I'm conscious that Lorraine's drawn out some of the statistics around literacy and numeracy and the levels that St Mungo's are operating to, with St Mungo's being the 4th highest in Clackmannanshire for literacy and the 3rd highest for numeracy. And just to note that this is a high-performance school. They were always a high-performance school, but this is a high-performance school that have continued to significantly improve within their current setting. And in terms of the school role, this was another concern, as was drawn out by Councillor Forson, and it was highlighted during the decant in 2018, where concerned parents believed this would be the demise of St Mungo's Primary and parents and carers would no longer send their children to the school. We know now that this has not been the case, and the school role has actually increased. Now, the paper outlines, and Lorraine has detailed the improvements and alterations that have taken place to improve the overall experience of young people and staff. These now work very well, and particularly with regards to the provision of PE, playground space, staff space, lunchtimes and toilet facilities, which I understand still need to operate much more smoothly. And we'll continue to work with the school on that. I know members have taken time to observe how the schools operate as well. Now, the report highlights some further improvements that would further enhance the overall experience, and these need to be looked at in the round, as Lorraine's highlighted, and we are committed to making sure that the needs are dealt with in terms of the school community. We do need to remember, though, that there is a clear difference between what a school would want and what a school needs, and the facility is well served to deliver the day-to-day needs of young people and staff. I would reinforce that there are many schools across Clackmannanshire that do not have that access to the quality facilities that are currently available at Alloa Academy. Now, with regards to the second recommendation in declaring the site surplus, and we've discussed the importance of making a decision to enable us to declare the site surplus. I think we would all recognise the need to invest due to the visual impact that this is having on the local community, as well as the ongoing health and safety implications. But additionally, again, as has been drawn out in the discussion so far, there is a further cost, and a further cost which has been seen over the last 6 years of over 220,000, and that doesn't include insurance contributions that have been applied to that as well. So we simply cannot afford to continue to delay such a decision. The last but significant point, I would note in relation to declaring the site surplus, I would highlight that it wouldn't be the desire, I realise that decisions would have to be made as Kevin's outlined, but it wouldn't be the desire of this administration to sell the site to the open market. Again, I would refer back to the meeting in 2018 where parents relayed concerns and frustrations that the school was being decanted to enable the council to sell off the land to developers for housing. I reinforced at that time that this, within any control or influence the recommendations. Thanks.
Okay. Councillor Lindsay, can you hang on just 2 seconds? I think there's an issue with the online being able to hear the contributions that are made.
Just going to test the actual mics and making sure everything here, because people online couldn't hear a minute ago. So I'm just double checking that it's actually okay. And I've got a message to say it's fine. So thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hamilton to second appeal.
I'd like to formally.
Motion of amendment, Convener.
Okay, yeah, so Councillor Holden has already submitted notice of the amendment, and I'm just checking everybody's got a copy of the amendment in front of them. You've got access to the amendment. You have a further paper copy we can give. else got the amendment in front of them? Access to it? Yeah. Okay, Councillor Holt, do you want to move your amendment?
Let's keep going. I've got quite a lot of notes and things that I want to say, but to be honest with you, I'm as well just. I've got my mic on first. So put my mic on. I'm as well just to say what I feel. I think personally, for me, this is the most important debate I've contributed to in the 24, 25 years that I've been a councillor. And the reason for that, I'm not going to hold back in. If I can use any method to get you to agree with me, I'll use it. I made a promise to previous parish priest that I would do everything I could to retain St Mungo's, and I think it's important that I keep that promise from a personal perspective. But I think it's also important that that promise is kept by the wider community, and all the councillors are here today as well, because it's such an important contribution towards the education system in Clackmannanshire. But perhaps most importantly, it's such an important contribution towards the Roman Catholic community. It's linked to identity, children, history, education, all of that is all linked. Now, it would have been easy for me today just to come along, and which would normally have been my approach, which was to put up an amendment and seeking to go back today again and say, well, let's defer the permanent relocation of the school. Let's put up an amendment that seeks to get additional options explored. But we don't need to do that. I'm not going to achieve anything by doing that, and let me be quite clear. Unfortunately, I have to be very, very clear on this. The issue of uncertainty is gone. There is no uncertainty. St Mungo's will be permanently relocated in Alloa Academy. Of that, there is no doubt. The financial reality means that even I can do it from a tokenistic gesture, put a motion up, but it's not going to achieve anything. It's not going to work. Much better, therefore, to take a pragmatic approach and to see what I can do to try and improve the situation. Have listened to the parents, the pupils, the teachers, and seen the premises and understanding someone who lives in this community, who's an Alloa member. Not everybody here is an Alloa member. That's why it's also important to me. Having listened to all these things, it became apparent to me that it was more important that I try and do something constructive with this, rather than just doing a gesture to say, look, we tried. Because it's going to fail. Because I'm not going to convince these guys. That's the problem. I'm not going to do that. So I have to think a bit creatively about it. I've spoken with them. They've not really spoken with me, right? But I've tried to speak to everybody here. Because it's important that they communicate, regardless of our personal differences. Now, in terms of what the process that was embarked upon, the mistake was made early. You ask one question, you're only going to get an answer to one question. The answer has come back comprehensively from everybody. Everybody we've asked has come back. Looking at about 87%, I think Father quoted 83%. It's actually higher than that, it's numerically 87%. But anyway, put it this way, there's pretty almost unanimous opposition to the proposal. The financial reality means there is very little else we can do. I accept that. So the permanent location. So how do we make things better? I'm going to read it formally, the amendment just now, just so that I can explain that. By the way, through discussions with legal services, there'll be parts in here that you recognise are not entirely known, but they're here in something in order to provide security, so you understand what it means, the implications of these things are. So if you pardon the kind of long-winded nature of it, I hope the convener will grant me that to read that out. Council agrees to defer the decision to permanently relocate St Mungo's Roman Catholic Primary School to Alloa Academy, Alloa, to allow for the production of a comprehensive, fully costed action plan for capital works in line with the accounting standards relating to the capitalisation of costs. That's the bit that's not mine. Setting out the concerns raised in the report following the consultation and contained in Appendix 1, Section 4, Review of Proposal and Mitigations, page 85 of the report. No works will be instructed in terms of any action plan until the Council's approval of the action plan. The Council is in receipt of the net proceeds for the sale in terms of paragraph 3. 2. The action plan will also include steps and associated timeline to address outstanding operational issues and minor works, which cannot be capitalised in terms of paragraph 1, again contained in Appendix 1, Section 4, Review of Proposal and Mitigations, page 85 of the report, subject to 1. Such costs being met within existing budgets, and 2. Council's approval of the action plan. This is really important because it's clear that we've got a list of problems that pertain to the school. We know what these problems are, and we'd like to resolve them. So I'm going to speak a bit plainer, perhaps some officers can speak with you. They're in competition with every other school. The clear language that we're hearing from the administration is there are other schools which are in a worse position. I disagree. They've lost their school, they're homeless. They have lost their school. They are a priority. They should be a priority. It doesn't matter when you put them in another environment, they've still lost their school. So we've got an opportunity to say, let's look for a wee bit of imagination as to how we can actually deliver something to a school that we allowed them to lose. So the only thing I could come up with through discussions was the land. And let me make it clear, I respect the point that's been put forward by the leader of the council, and I know her position on this as a local member as well. But she knows my position. I was absolutely firmly against the sale of this land for a capital C, especially to the local developer. I'm going to keep my reasons to myself as to why I felt that way, but I'm sure you can guess them. If I can take this, if I can backtrack on my commitment, if I can backtrack on that for the sake of the children, the pupils, and the parents of these pupils, then anybody else can. I'm not happy about it, but we have to make the best of what we've got. We have a mechanism whereby we can fund improvements to that school as a matter of priority. If there's money left over, it can go into the rest of the school estate, so there's a win-win. I don't believe for a single second we're going to take this property and sell it within a 6-month period. It's not. We have to be imaginative about it. Now, the administration have set out the fact they want to retain it. I'm not quite sure what they want to do in terms of community use, but one, they're going to have to take it in the building, because the building's no use. That's going to cost you money. 2, it'll take you a period of time before you can get to that point where you can take it in the building. 3, you're going to have to undertake improvements to the site, also going to cost you money. Where are we getting the money from? If we can't get the money to make the improvements in the school that we've got, where are we getting the money to do this? There's nothing nicer than sitting in a nice wee parkland area with some pigeons cooing in the trees, but we'll have to pay for that. What we've got is a flooded school which is worth nothing to us, but it's worth something to other people. So what we should do is take full advantage of that, swallow our own pride, our own disappointment at how we lost the school, for the benefit of the pupils of that school. We have an opportunity that I'm pleading with you to do this, to think about it. Now, the third point is council further agrees that following any decision by the council to declare the property of North Crescent Harlow to be surplus to requirements and placed on the open market for sale and subject to approval of the action plan further in paragraph 1, any net proceeds of such will be utilised to implement the action plan. I make no apology for that. They've lost their school. It's their money. We can take the decision, if we wish, we can take a decision to allocate that money, to prioritise it and do the improvements and give those children what they need and what they deserve, and we can do it quicker than what we can do through that normal process. We have an opportunity to do it. Stand up for them and take the opportunity to do it. Because if we don't do it, convener, it's a betrayal. It's a betrayal to the children, a betrayal to the parents, to the teachers, and to the wider Roman Catholic community. It's a betrayal. We have the opportunity to do it. All we need today is have the guts to do it. I plead with every member in here to support this amendment. You're going to hear things after I speak, because I lose, when I have that amendment forward, I lose the right to reply, so I can't even come back and provide a rebuttal. I'm pleading with you. Do the right thing. Thanks, Convener.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Holden. Do you have a seconder for the amendment? Do you wish to speak? The amendment is now open for debate. Anybody wish to debate? Councillor Quinn.
Yeah, no, this has been an interesting one. Definitely one of the most difficult decisions we've had to make. And you know, as the time's gone on, you know, I visited the school multiple times, listened to all the consultations, and I've kind of, in my own mind, I've gone back and forth on it. And I appreciate the pragmatic approach here in the amendment by Councillor Holden. I think, you know, we can see from the consultation the public are not on board with this, but it seems amongst all that, there is some acceptance that, you know, there isn't an option to build a new school, but, you know, things have been spoken about constantly, and, you know, works haven't been done or changes haven't been made. So I think having the action plan here would hopefully provide some reassurance to people, hopefully provide them, you know, with some clarity about what's going to happen, and that work would actually be prioritised and be taking place, so that they're not left with some things, yeah, I accept that some of them are quite minor, like sinks in all the classrooms, but I think some of them are you know, quite significant and do need to be addressed. So having the clarity about what those are and when they will get addressed, and I think it's I appreciate the approach as well of having no problem selling, you know, a building that we're trying to use and a bit of land that's absolutely worthless to us, and it's costing us money to make money in order to improve the condition in the school for the children. So on that basis, I'm happy to support this amendment. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Forson.
Thanks, convener. I struggled with the amendment a bit because I don't know. For me, it doesn't deliver anything that we're not moving towards anyway. Perhaps the sale of the land, but that's not a decision for me to take. It's not a decision for the administration to take. That's a decision for council once it's been made surplus, and it can't be made surplus until the decision is made to, relocate St Mungo's in a permanent home. So we're kind of in a bit of a chicken and egg situation here, in my perspective. So kind of delaying the decision to permanently relocate St Mungo's into Alloa Academy when it's acknowledged that there is no other options to February doesn't achieve anything for me here. Once we take that decision, there is certainty known about the future location of St Mungo's, and then that allows us to move forward with an action plan and identifying budgets, etc., in relation to that. So, and then the decision about the land, etc., can be taken once the decision is made about the relocation, because then it can be declared surplus. So from that perspective, I'm probably going to stick with the original recommendations in the paper. And I'm not going to debate the rest of the paper right now, because we'll do that after the amendment is either agreed or not.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McTaggart.
Thanks, Convener. I'm very passionate about St Mungo's, as my three daughters attended that school as part of the Roman Catholic community, and I'm loath to see this happen to St Mungo's. However, I don't understand how the amendment is going to achieve anything better. If we accept the amendment, it's kicking the can down the road. We're going to come back here at some point to make a decision. We have to make a decision, because we cannot deem the original St Mungo's School as surplus to requirements until there's a permanency around St Mungo's now. So it's impossible to reach the point that the amendment is trying to reach without making the original decision. So while I'm, as I say, a previous parent of the school and loved the school, girls loved the school, I don't think it's lost its identity. It's still there as St Mungo's Roman Catholic School. It's just in another building. And I understand the passionate nature of the parent council, the parents, the kids, the teachers, everybody, the church. I understand it, but I don't see what the amendment is going to deliver that is more positive. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Rennie, to be followed by Councillor Coyne.
I hope you can hear me now. I've finally managed to get my IT issues sorted out. To be honest, the debate today just raised more concerns for me rather than alleviated them, particularly in terms of the issue with PPP status and how it's so difficult to get repairs done. I hadn't even thought about that before. And for me, it's a case of the consultation. Actually, we got that very last minute and it brought out some really significant issues. And, I've listened to all the views of everybody else in the room about, we need to make these decisions. These decisions are difficult, but I think as a council, we're always, very committed to consultation. It's very important to hear the views of others. And I actually think in this instance, the delay for me would allow me to come to a clearer position that some of the debate today has actually raised concerns. I think the debate to delay the decision till next year, I think for me would give me a chance to have a lot of these questions answered, to allow us to coordinate more with the parent council and hear their views, but also to see whether this is, to me, a good arrangement in terms of when we're in a situation where we're in a different arrangement from other primary schools in the area because we're under the PPP contract. So I'm actually sitting here today thinking, oh goodness, there was lots of things I hadn't even considered, and I'm even more concerned than I was after hearing the parent council issues. I also don't like the way we do scattergun approach to different decisions. I think we should, as I said at the beginning, I think we should be doing a whole financial strategy decision rather than like bits and pieces. And I think leaving it to next year allows it to align with the budget and allows us to do that. So for me, I'm supporting the amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Rennie. Councillor Klein?
Thanks, Convener. Right, difficult one. I'm almost minded here to propose an amendment to the amendment. Seriously, I would be thinking about knocking out points 1 and 2 and just having the amendment as point 3. The right decision, I think, is probably to have the school taken into the envelope of permanent estate. But it does, I think, require a bit of special treatment. It has, as Councillor Holden has said, lost its sort of soul, if you like, in moving across from its original location. And the land upon which they sat, I think, is probably of value to somebody else. We could realise that value, and some of that money, we can decide to use that money to bring St Mungo's up to what we would consider, or would be considered by a group who studied the topic, to be an appropriate sort of starting level for being a permanent member of the estate. So I don't think delaying it moves us on at all. I think if we take the decision to redirect the funds from any sale of the land towards the school, or not all of it obviously, but whatever part of it is required to bring the school up to an acceptable minimum standard. And if we delay the decision, we still have a rates bill to pay. And we're prevented from selling the property until it's declared surplus to requirements. So, if it's competent to do so, Convener, if it's competent to do so, I would propose an amendment to the amendment that we strike paras 1 and 2.
We're going to take a 5-minute adjournment to consider that proposal put forward by Councillor Quinn.
They do this kind of thing in round table, you know.
Amendments to amendments.
How can you have point 3 property approval of action plan if action plan isn't so? Okay. Right. So that